And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a very small game called Hanabi, and the reason this game is one that people want to hear about is because this game was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres. And that's interesting because, first of all, their games usually aren't this small. By the way, in case you don't know, that's the largest board game award in the world, handed out in Germany each June. But not only is it small, but this is a little cooperative card game. Interesting. I'm trying to launch fireworks. That can be a tough job, especially if you live in places where fireworks are banned. Come on down south, we'll let you shoot off anything. But anyhow, let's show you how the game works. The game revolves around these cards here. These cards are numbered from 1 to 5 in different colors, and the different colors have shapes too. You got your pie, X, circle, triangle, and what's the white color? A square. And these cards are going to be shuffled, and some of them are going to be dealt out to each player depending on the number of players. So let's say in a 4-player game you have 4 cards in your hand. But here's the deal. I don't know the cards in my hand because I have to hold them backwards. Now that's kind of a confusing thing. You have to hold your cards so everybody can see your cards except for you. Now, on your turn, you have 3 options, and I have to do here with these 8 note card tokens in the middle of the table. One of the things you can do in your turn is take a note token and turn it over to the dark side and give someone a clue about their hand. These would be valid clues. Let's say this is your hand. You can't see it. I could say these 2 cards are white. I could say these 2 cards are green. I could say you don't have any blue cards. I could say this card is a 5, 4, 1, or 3. It doesn't matter. I can give a clue about a number or color as long as I do all of them. If, for example, you had 3 4s in your hand in a smaller number game, I would say these 3 are 4s. Now you don't know what colors those are, but in the future I could tell you the colors. The problem is you can see that after a very quick time, these clue tokens run out. Well, if the clue tokens are run out or you don't want to give a clue, you can play a card in the middle of the table. When you play a card in the middle of the table, the first card of each color has to be a 1. So if I played a 4, now after 1, it's not legal too. So let's say I'm going to play a card. I don't know what my cards are, so I say 4. I play it, and no! Illegal play! Lightning strikes. Now, if lightning strikes 3 times, you lose. That's really bad. And then I draw a new card to replace it. I can also, on my turn, simply discard a card from my hand and turn over one of these clue tokens again. The problem is, I am trying to get 1 to 5 of each color out there. And so, as every card that I discard from my hands as I'm playing them, I'm not going to be able to put them out on the board. And there is only 3 of each one, 2 of each other number, and there's only 1 of each 5. Now the game will end when the deck runs out. Everyone gets 1 final turn, and then the top card of each pile is your score. And you're trying to get for the score of 25, although that's going to be difficult. If you do that, then you win, or whatever your score is. If you turn over these 3 lightning tokens, you will lose, and there's always a possibility that you throw out the numbers that you need it as time goes by. Now, the amount of information that you're allowed to give each other will depend on the group. You're really only supposed to say, you have 3 4s, you have 2. How you remember that sort of thing, you're looking at the back, maybe you turn your cards upside down to help you remember which are which color. And you could play where you said, by the way, remember, I told you these 2 were green. You can make the game easier or harder depending on the number of how much information you're willing to give out to each other. You could play a game where you don't talk to each other, but if you're going to do that, you might as well just get a computer. But if you think this is too easy or too simple, the game also includes 10 fireworks cards, colorful cards, woohoo! Now these cards can be used as a 6th color, which adds some fun, or you can play, if you want to make your life miserable, you can add just 1 of each of these so that you can't afford to lose them at all. And if you want to make your life even more miserable, when you put these in someone's hand, let's say these cards are in my hand, and I would have to say you have 4 blue because these count as every color. That would be super hard, but it is a possibility if you were getting bored with the original game. Okay, the game doesn't feel like you're shooting off fireworks at all. Okay, you're just playing a cooperative game. Now, the fact that you can't see your cards, this is something that I haven't seen done before in a game with a whole hand of cards. I've seen the whole, you can't see the one card on your forehead that Coyote does, and other games have that one card you can't see. But this one you have your whole hand, which will take some getting used to, because whenever I'm playing card games, sometimes I will bury myself in my cards, looking at them, thinking about them. Here you're looking at the card backs, not very useful. And when you draw a card, you naturally try not to let anyone else see it and put it in your hand. Here you're trying not to let yourself see it when you put it in your hand. It's a very different experience. As a cooperative game, you're going to quote-unquote win most of the time once you get good at it. It's just how high of a score will you get, so you're playing for that high score. And I think once you know what you're doing, you really need to throw in that fireworks suit, because that makes the game much more difficult and adds to the level. I like it. It's a very interesting exercise for me. It's kind of a deduction game. At the same time, I'm trying to think, how can I best give you a clue? See, the methodology of you giving clues will also help. If there's a white 2 on a table, and I point your hand and say, you have a white card, I am probably telling you, that's a white 3. Play it now. I mean, unless, of course, I don't know what I'm doing, but hopefully we do. And so as time goes by, you'll find that there's these unworded clues. And again, the table talk and things, you could make the game as easy as you want. You could just, ruin the game. But at the same time, do you want to take it to the point where no one can say anything except cards? No, I think there has to be some leeway there, but it's up to your group about where that leeway is. Because remember, you're not playing anyone else, you're playing against the game. So if you need to do lots of table talking to beat the game, and you can go home that night and put your head in your pillow and feel proud of yourself, so be it. So anyhow, that's Hanabi. It's an interesting game. I don't know if it's Spiel Jahres material. It's a pretty neat game. But it certainly has some unique things about it where you can't see your cards. It's a card cooperative game, and it's also fairly short. We're talking 20, 30 minutes. So certainly one that, for the price, you might as well check it out. Hanabi.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.